Hey all you poets and posers, this is Upstairs Iowa, an ongoing series that examines Iowa artists on and off stage. Joining us today is Extravision's Ryan Stier and the Mimsies' Tommy Boynton. These two formerly trained seasoned musicians are no strangers, having been frequent collaborators, and were also members of famed Iowa folk outfit, the River Monks. Their current projects see them coming into their own sound and storytelling without totally abandoning their roots.
Pretend I have never been to your England, and close your eyes and recreate Belgium and my Iceland. They can wait. When he fought to try the untried, and there are but a small number of times life gives you a perfect state of mind. Whoa. Saved a life's falling, and our fates flashed before her as she slipped. She kept me safe asleep between her
You both kind of have grown up Midwestern-ish.
Ish.
Yeah. You, Tommy, you're from Colorado.
Yep.
Ryan, you were born in Iowa but spent some time in Illinois, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. What kind of brought you guys to settle here in Iowa?
I went to school in Creston at the School for Music Vocations at Southwestern Community College, and it was like a 2-year program, and that's where I met like Nick Frampton from River Monks and Field Division, and Drew Rao from Druids. Drew and I were roommates, and it was basically because of my love for the homies that I met that I like went and lived away for a little bit, and then I recognized that it was just like this, real sense of family and community that lives here is one of a kind, and so I ended up moving to Des Moines about 1.5 years ago, and yeah.
My family moved back to Iowa right around the year 2000, 2001. My roots have been here. I went to school at Simpson College, so I've just been in central Iowa for almost 20 years now, and that's really just where my roots are.
Did growing up with kind of that Midwestern backdrop influence you musically?
Yeah, absolutely.
Certainly this dude, and I guess he's influenced me musically, so vicariously through this like Iowa thing, I've certainly adapted it. I never really imagined myself doing a more songwriter-based thing, but then it just became inevitable, and certainly, especially like when I play the Cornhuskers stuff, it's like all about trying to find that prairie and what it means to me. So it's a big part of it for me these days. I found myself here in Iowa for sure. Like I've really stepped into who I am since I've been here.
Yeah, I think there's like there's certainly a lot of interesting aspects to like the Iowa music scene, Midwestern music. It has always incorporated like organic instruments, acoustic instruments, and that's obviously a big part of what we both do. I think there's also just aspects of it, like it being a diverse place for music. There isn't really like necessarily a set sound. There's a lot of different sounds here. And so I think that has kind of influenced me personally, just in that I like to explore different sounds and see where things go, blend different things. I still very much enjoy making acoustic music. But there's also just kind of like an atmosphere here that makes me want to explore other things, other sonic things.
You guys both played together in the River Monks, which was an acclaimed folk outfit from Iowa. I think even Stevie Nicks was a fan, right?
Well, that's news to me, but...
Didn't she, I swear, didn't she give you guys a shout out during like the Fleetwood Mac?
She gave Des Moines a shout out, as in Des Moines was named after the Des Moines River, La Rivière des Moines, which is the river of the monks, and that is what we named our band after. So technically, she did shout out to us. But
Nice, I like that.
I don't think she knows that she did.
Oh, well, still awesome.
Yeah. Vicariously very sick.
Yeah, very, very sick. How did you guys end up meeting up and becoming collaborators?
Yeah, I met through Nick Frampton. Just from like SWIC. Nick and Ryan went to high school together.
Yeah, Nick was the reason I started playing music in like 9th grade. Said I'm starting a band, and I was like, please let me be in it. Started playing guitar right away, and he was already a very good drummer at the time, and we started with Blink-182 covers and worked our way to hardcore music later on in high school, and he went on to play in a band called An Airbag Saved My Life, which was also a very acclaimed kind of southern heavy band. And then when he left that band, he joined the River Monks, which was just me and Joel Geddes at the time, and the three of us kind of took that and went with it, and eventually Nick moved away, and Tommy kind of started to fill the roles that Nick was doing in the band, and anyway, eventually it turned into a six piece.
This whole interview is actually a Nick Frampton awareness interview.
Nick from Swick.
This is So I went to Swick with Nick and Drew, like I was saying earlier, and when I left and went to Boston, that was when they really started doing River Monks, and I was just listening to Jovial's, the first record, like just being like, I can't believe my friends just did this, and I'm like not even there. And so then when I moved back to Iowa, that was right when Nick moved to Nashville, and so I filled the parts then. And then the same thing actually ended up happening with Extravision too. Like I left for a little bit, and Extravision blossomed and became really sick, and right as soon as I came back to Iowa, Nick disappeared, so then I started playing synthesizers and Extravision, so I'm just a Nick Frampton replacement of sorts for Ryan. So 100 years ago, Carl Sandburg wrote a piece called Cornhuskers that he ended up getting a Pulitzer for in 1919, and it's a really great collection of poetry about the prairie and how it was made and how it created prairie people and the culture that we are today. And so the first 10 pages of Cornhuskers is one flow, and these first 3 songs are the first page and a half of it. I was born on the prairie, and the milk of its wheat, the red of its clover, the eyes of its women, gave me a song and a slogan. Here the water went down, the iceberg slid with gravel. The gaps and the valleys hissed. Then the black loam came and the yellow sandy loam. Here, between the sheds of the Rocky Mountains and the Appalachians, here now a morning star fixes a fire sign over the timber claims and cow pastures, the corn belt, the cotton belt, the cattle ranches. Here the gray geese go 500 miles and back with the wind under their wings, honking the cry for a new home. Here, I know I will hanker after nothing so much as one more sunrise or sky moon of fire, double to a river moon of water. The prairie sings to me in the forenoon, and I know in the night I rest easy in the prairie arms, on the prairie heart.
sunburn of the day, handling a pitchfork at a hayrack. After the eggs and biscuit and coffee, the pearl gray haystacks in the gloaming are cool prayers to the harvest hands. In the city, among the walls, the overland passenger train is choked, and the pistons hiss, and the wheels curse. On the prairie, the overland flits on phantom wheels, and the sky and the soil between them muffle the pistons and cheer the wheels. I am here when the cities are gone. I am here before the cities come. I nourish the lonely men on horses. I will keep the laughing men who ride iron. I am dust of men. The running water babbled to the deer, the cottontail, the gopher. You came in wagons making streets and schools, kin of the axe and rifle, kin of the plow and horse.
Both of your current projects still have a little bit of a folk aesthetic, maybe not as rooted as the River Monks. Ryan, Extravision, has kind of this, you're able to paint these soundscapes that's almost kind of like folk on hallucinogens. And Tom, Tommy, yours makes me kind of think of like a 1960s children's book, come to life.
Yeah, totally.
Also on hallucinogens at times.
That seems pretty accurate.
Do you guys still feel in some way beholden to maybe some of those folk roots, or is it you just create and write what comes to you at the time?
For me, it's like I'm a piano player, and with that though, it's like I do like synthesizers, but like piano is more like what makes sense and what feels good to me, and but then you can't bring that anywhere, and so it was like the draw of acoustic guitar was just incredible for that, and I love its personality and how I can just bring it anywhere and just sit down in a record store and just start ripping it. Or, you know, when we're riding Ragbri, I can just bust it out and start playing then too. So it was really just like what folk music does for community is like kind of what pulls me to it time and time again, of just being able to sit down and experience friendship through this like acoustic thing is super beautiful. Also with a lot of my music, so for the Mimsies, it's all setting poetry to music, so it's really about what the poem feels like, and I've been I'm only done American poets so far. And so to have that American sound makes so much sense, especially with the Carl Sandburg stuff. Carl was even a folk songwriter touring around, playing acoustic guitar and touring his acoustic music. So it kind of made sense for the Carl Sandburg stuff to definitely be very folk rooted.
Yeah, for me it's been like, I always like to be able to play a song anywhere, as Tommy just mentioned. Like, if as long as a song can be boiled down to something that can be played around a campfire, then I'll consider it a song of mine, kind of thing. But I think, you know, all art is just, it's specific to the artist that is making it. And so, for me personally, I enjoy the sounds of acoustic guitar just as much as I enjoy the sounds of like spacey synthesizers and guitars and stuff like that. So, currently I feel like I'm just trying to you know, make music that uses those sounds, the sounds that I love the most.
Tommy, I know that you have used Shel Silverstein poems in the past to base songs off of, and Ryan pulling from those sonic sounds and stuff that kind of drive you. Where do you guys look for inspiration on top of those
Sonically speaking, or words?
Yeah, both.
Word-wise?
Both.
That's actually the biggest question for it all, in a way. Like, again, like, I mean, Ryan is one of my biggest influences in general, so it's like that's, again, where I, like, go to, I pull from, like, my first song I wrote was The Little Boy and the Old Man, which is a Shel Silverstein poem, and I literally used the lick that I was using on Beast, which is a River Monk song, to, like, get it started. I was like, how do I start this? And so it was literally, like, Beast, because I knew how to play that, and then I literally then took a progression from a Schumann piano piece that I love and learned it on guitar too, and then out fell an entire song cycle of music. So it was like taking my love for Schumann and classical music and song cycles in general, plus my best friend's music, just farted it all out in a much more eloquent way than that.
Sonically speaking, I gotta echo Tommy there. Like, really my biggest influences are people close to me, you know, mixed with those deeper influences. For me, it's like things like Sufjan Stevens, Steve Miller Band, Frank Ocean is influencing me a lot right now. It's all over the place, usually.
Seriously.
But in terms of words, that's, I think, the thing that's been evolving for me the most over the last, you know, handful of years. With River Monks, I think I was more influenced by, you know, the idea of something like prairie rock and roll, like noticing the things that are like outside, the things that are bigger than me. And I guess that's kind of like then transitioned into Extravision, which is more internal and exploring the mind more, and really trying to see things bigger picture from that standpoint. And even like removing myself from it and seeing like what is left kind of thing. Like that's the kind of thing that brings me a lot of peace, and that's what I like to write about.
What do you guys hope that anyone who listens or sees you guys perform takes away from the Mimsies or Extravision or even that occasional River Monks set?
For me, I gotta kind of echo what I just said, which is that, you know, from a personal standpoint, like, I'm usually suffering the most if I'm like thinking about myself or like comparing myself to other things or you know, tuning into my fears, that kind of thing. And so the music that I have been writing lately is trying to like observe those things from an emotional standpoint and almost remove myself from that and just kind of like figure out where I fit into things, you know, fit into the world rather than like how I can conquer the world kind of thing, which is maybe how I was thinking in my mid-20s. And so I don't know, like I hope that, you know, if someone hears one of my songs and they can even just find like one line in it that means something to them, that's really what I'm looking for. I think I kind of like incorporate a lot of trancey kind of hypnotic kind of things these days too, and that is kind of an effort to maybe find more of the in a discussion that Tommy and I have had a lot, which is the concept of Chronos versus Kairos. Chronos is kind of the time and
Chronological events, A to B over and over again.
yeah, and Kairos is kind of that space you exist in that is kind of without time. It's just like sort of, I don't know, can you...
Yeah, Kairos is like the moments that you're removed from Chronos. You don't even realize you're in Kairos until you're back in Chronos. So it's like everything from that moment of hearing like an awesome song or, you know, a hug. It can be like just like a quick moment of like, damn, I didn't even think about A to B. I was just in this hug just now. Or
riding a bicycle does.
Yeah, riding a bicycle is mad Kairos for us. Yeah, same thing, totally. Just to be removed from, just like, there's so much stuff going on. I would love to just be like, let's just share these words in this moment together. That's kind of my favorite thing, Chronos and Kairos being the winner of it all. And then also, it's as it being a poetry project, I'm just into people that are down to like listen to it all, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just looking for eager listeners, I think, the most.
You both have toured around Iowa and the country, both together and separately. What's different when it comes back to playing shows in Iowa, if anything at all?
I think just like a sort of a deeper intimacy with the people that are there. Usually I'm inviting old friends rather than people I don't see very often. So in terms of touring, it's just about like reconnecting and trying to go like as deep as possible with somebody in such a short amount of time, whereas performing for people in Iowa is, I mean, that's just like what has influenced me most, is just being here and being around the people here. And I don't know, there's just something very powerful for me to perform in my home state, because my roots are so deep here.
I moved here for community reasons, and I find I'm like really passionate about the fact that everything, like especially as an artist, is about your community and not necessarily the scene. Like, your community is what you make of it. So your community is your sense of friendship and how it permeates based off of their circle of friendship. Isn't even though we like live together, for example, all of his friends aren't necessarily part of my community, but that sort of like ripple of friendship and whatnot is a really beautiful thing to me. And so to experience that here in Iowa is its own one of a kind thing that I truly love. And specifically, like, so for my main traveling thing, I'm playing with the 4 freshmen, and it's like I don't see any friends. It's like all these like people that are a lot older, let's just say that.
All walks of life.
And so, yeah, exactly. And so it's like when I'm here, it's like I'm experiencing the friendship, and which is obviously like what I crave more than like the big show kind of thing. It's like I would much rather just play for like Ryan or a couple other people than for like some huge thing. And so I just appreciate being able to hang with my community and experience like a pure sense of community and friendship, which Iowa's got plenty of.
stitch it up and leave it to the plow. Oh, oh. I can just keep my mouth closed on you.
We would like to thank Wax Ecstatic Record Audio Stereo at 108 West Main in Marshalltown, Iowa for letting us film here today. Also thanks to Ryan and Tommy for sharing with us. If you want to see more, hear more, watch more, go to Extravision's Bandcamp and the Mimsy's SoundCloud page. Follow them on social media, and while you're at it, give Upstairs Iowa a follow as to not miss any future episodes. For Upstairs Iowa, we kindly thank you for watching and reminding you to stay plugged in.